So in this lesson we're going to be talking about possessive adjectives. And this is actually in your book on page 140 or 140. My chart looks a little different than theirs. I just have mine set up a little more user-friendly, but it's the same chart. So if you have questions, you need to reference that paragraph or just send me an email or whatever. But I'd like to show you how to work through this. Now the first thing that you have to remember is that adjectives have to agree with the noun they modify in number and gender. Let me explain to you what that means. If the word that I am working with, or the noun for instance, is father, père, and you can remember that père means father because if a man is trying to figure out if it's his kid or not, he's going to take a paternity test. So that's where it comes from. It's that Latin again, showing back up. Also, the word père is obviously masculine. Since it doesn't have an S on the end, we also know that it is singular. So whatever adjective I use with this, I would have to use the masculine singular. It's the same thing when you're dealing with the articles. So if I'm looking for the article that I would need to put with this to say maybe the father, well, if I have the options le, la, and le, and this is masculine, feminine, singular, and plural, well, since père is masculine singular, then I'm going to use the masculine singular to say the. It's the exact same process. This is that chart, this is another chart, but notice we still have masculine, feminine, plural, and then whatever it is that we're trying to say. In this case it was the, but in this case it's what's over here. So let me show you how to work through this. Now, you remember me saying that the adjective has to match the noun it's modifying in number and gender. Modifying just means the one that it's dealing with. So these two, this is the adjective modifying that noun. Okay? So, doesn't matter who's, even if it's a girl's father, I would still use le because le is masculine and father is masculine. Doesn't matter that it's a girl or his daughter, it's le père. So it's the same process with this. When you are dealing with possessive adjectives. Now these are our possessive adjectives in English. We use these all the time. But in French, because every noun has gender, which means it's masculine or feminine, and number, meaning singular or plural, and I'll write that up here too. Alright? So they have to match the noun that they're working with, and so you've got to figure out which one of these you have to use. Does this mean that the French have trois ways of saying my? Yes, it does. They have 3 ways of saying, actually they have 6 ways of saying your, no 5, because you have the one that goes with tu and the one that goes with vous. Let me give you your subject pronouns that you would be working with right here as well. So, je, tu, il, elle, on, nous, vous, il, elle. Again, okay? So, now this, I hope this doesn't get confusing. It probably will. So, all you're doing is following a chart. So, for instance, if I wanted to talk about my father, don't forget your accent grave. Even though I am a girl, my father is a guy. And he's not plural. He's just one dad. So this is masculine singular. So I need the masculine singular way to say my, which is mon. Mon. So if I was talking about my father, I would say mon père. Okay? If I want to say my father is hungry, I would say mon père a faim. My father, because even though I'm a girl, that doesn't matter. It's what's being talked about, not who is talking, that you base your adjective on. It's the noun that you're modifying, not who's saying it, the noun that's actually being modified. So, my mother, again, don't forget your accent grave. Since I'm a girl, that doesn't matter. It's the fact that my mother is a girl that matters. So she is a girl. There's only one of her. Thank goodness. And so I would need this feminine singular form of my. So here's my, here's feminine, we're in the singular. So there it is, ma. Ma mère. Ma mère a soif. My mother is thirsty. Okay? So what if I'm talking about both of my parents? If I wanted to say, my parents are hungry, we're going to go eat. It's time to go, right? So, because my parents are plural, and I'm trying to say my plural is me. Me. Just like they and les are plural, these are plural. Okay? So you have mon, ma, mes as the ways to say my. Now if I wanted to say your father is hungry, and let's say that we were on a first name basis with each other, then I would need the masculine your way to say that, which would be ton. And what if it was your mother? Well, your mother's feminine. There's only one of her. But you're probably glad about that too. Ta mère. What if it was your parents that were hungry? Tes parents ont faim. Your parents have hunger. Alright? Same thing with son, sa, and say. So, and this is where it can actually get a little confusing, because you have the his and the her, and don't let it confuse you, alright? It's the same exact process that we just did. So if I wanted to say that it was his father, okay? Notice this is his or her. Doesn't matter. This is the line that we go with. So because his father is masculine and singular, guess what? His or her, masculine, son. What if it was his mother? Same exact thing. Feminine, his or her, sa. Alright? And then if it was his parents, take a wild guess. Say. Now the good thing is all of these rhyme. So you have mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, tes, son, sa, c'est. Now when you get here, it gets a little easier, because you don't really have to know the gender anymore, because they're the same no matter which it is. All you have to be aware of is whether it's singular or plural. That's your only difference. So if I wanted to say our mother, notre, because here it's singular. Yes, it's feminine, but since the masculine and feminine are the same, you don't really have to worry about that. If I wanted to say our father, it would be the same here, notre. And if it was our parents, we go to the plural column for our. No. No. Nos parents. Alright? Also, this is where you're going, notre. Okay, wait a minute, I've seen this. Well, the word for lady in French, which you may remember from madame and monsieur and mademoiselle, is dame. Notre Dame means our lady. Okay? Same process with votre. If I wanted to say your father, votre père. Your mother, or your lady, votre dame. Your parents, vos parents. And then if it was there, like let's say it was my cousins, their parents are coming for Christmas, alright? Same exact thing. Who? It's theirs. Doesn't matter who's talking, it's what's being talked about, okay? So since father is masculine, doesn't matter if it's two girls that are talking about their father. Father is masculine. So leur père, leur dame, or we'll go back to mère. And then, because parents is plural, I need that S to match it. Okay? So let me go over this chart really quickly. Mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, tes, son, sa, ses, notre, nos, votre, vos, leur. Now, these are actually all going to sound the same, these on the bottom especially. But remember, you're only going to pronounce this S if the next word begins with a vowel. So, for instance, if I wanted to say their friends, leurs amis, leurs amis. If it was their friend, it would be leur ami. And that's where you would hear the difference. Remember, in English, we're used to hearing the plural on the end of the word. In French, it's at the end of the word, but it's the one before the noun, not at the end of the noun. Now, speaking of ami, this chart has a little bit of a trick to it. You're thinking, oh, it looked so easy. Really? Well, it's French. They have to do that to you. And so, one of the things, and you may remember in our le, la, les chart, remember for the, we had masculine, singular, masculine, feminine, and plural. This was singular, right, for the. And if you recall, just like when we have je in front of a verb that begins with a vowel, we take that E off, right, and put that apostrophe there. And we called that singular before a vowel. We didn't do it with we did do it with that one too, yeah. But we used this to say singular before a vowel. So if the word was singular and began with a vowel, like ami, and I wanted to say the friend, I had to put L apostrophe. I couldn't put L-E, right? I had to put L apostrophe. It's not le ami, it's l'ami, okay? But when I got to this one, because this is plural, this one was singular before a vowel. Singular before a vowel. This one is plural, okay? And plural has the lay on there. So I only had to worry about this when it was singular before a vowel. Well, when you are in here, you can't take off the A. And let me tell you why. Really, really easy. Because if I were to take off the A, and I was talking about my friend, we'll put le back there. I was talking about my friend, and the word for friend in French is ami. If it's a girl, I add an E to it. So if it's a guy friend, it's just an I. If it's a friend that's a girl, you add an E. Okay? But let's say that I wanted to talk about my friend, and I used ma. And I did like that. Then I get the word Miami, which sounds kind of like Miami, but not really, and it just doesn't really sound French. So then you're thinking, oh, hey, wait a minute, that's one of those short words with the vowels on it, we're going to take that off, squish it together. Well, if you do that, all of a sudden, your friend becomes your mommy. And that's a whole different subject altogether. So you can't do that. So what the French do is when they need to talk about singular before a vowel, for any of these, just the ones that deal with the A at the end, okay, they use this. So this column is used not only for masculine singular, but also for singular before a vowel. Now what happens is it's mon ami. And that N acts as your separation, so people know what you're talking about. If you think this is strange, it's really not. For instance, in English, we do this all the time. For the word apple, I can't say that I have a apple. An N drops out of the sky into right here, and all of a sudden I have an apple. Where did this N come from? Who knows? But it's the same exact principle here. They like the N to break up the words as well. So if I wanted to talk about my friend, whether it was a guy or a girl, I have to use the masculine form or the singular before a vowel form in order to break that up. So if I wanted to talk about your friend, it would be ton ami. If it was his friend, son ami. If it was her friend, son ami. Same thing, his or her, remember? But if it was our friend, guess what? Don't have to worry about it. Because neutra isn't one of those issues. It's only those 6 that you really have to worry about as far as singular before a vowel. Okay? So, good luck. Get your chart. It's going to become a very, very good friend of yours. You're going to be using it constantly, especially throughout this unit. Good luck.